Welcome to the quiz show that demands nothing less than perfection. Behind this screen, our four contestants will be hoping their knowledge is flawless because one single mistake could give the game away. This is perfection. Hello and welcome to Perfection, the quiz show where only perfect play is good enough. Behind me are the contestants. We call them the usual suspects. They're in our isolation room. In a moment, we'll find out which one of them has been randomly selected to join me here to play Perfection. They will then face a series of true or false statements. For example, if I said actor Jimmy Stewart was a pilot in World War II, would you say that's true or false? Well, if you'd said true, I can tell you you'd be right. Answering true or false might seem easy, but if the contestant gets a single answer wrong, their opponents, the usual suspects, will be allowed into the game to capitalise on their mistakes. So you know how the game works. Let's meet the usual suspects.
I'm Dave. I'm from Crewcurn in Somerset. I'm a retired supplier controller, and this is my first game.
I'm Peter. I'm from Birmingham, and I'm a waiter, and this is my second game.
I'm Ross. I'm from Manchester. I'm a marketing consultant, and this is my third game.
I'm Richard. I'm from Brixham. I'm a retired driving instructor, and this is my 14th game.
Welcome to you all, and best of luck as we now find out which one of you has been randomly picked to play Perfection. Peter, it's you. Peter, welcome to the show. List the different jobs you do, because you mentioned that you're a waiter.
I'm a waiter in a restaurant, and I'm also a gym promoter. I'm also a part-time reservist in the TA, so I get to go on many adventures with them.
Yeah, and you enjoy doing that, do you?
I do, yeah. It's like a second family. It's very exciting.
That's very good. And when you were at university, you took up dancing in a big way.
I did break dancing, yeah.
Would you like to give us a little demonstration quickly?
I can do others than a robot, but I'll try.
Yeah.
So.
That's very good. Kind of gone out of fashion a bit, the robot dance, hasn't it?
No, it's back. Kids love it.
Is it back?
Yeah.
Oh, OK. Maybe I'll brush up my technique then. All right, Peter, it's now you versus the usual suspects. They were your teammates, now they're your enemies. Their job is to stop you from winning the prize fund because your failure means the money will roll over to the next game where one of them could be sitting here playing for a bigger total. Every game on Perfection is worth £1,000. Here's the great news for you. Nobody's won the last 13 games, so the prize fund currently stands at £14,000. Now, I'm guessing that you don't do all those jobs just for the fun of it, so £14,000 would come in quite handy, wouldn't it?
It would, yes.
What are you going to spend it on?
Maybe try and get some driving lessons and maybe go on the road.
All right, well, look, best of luck. Here's how the game works. You'll play 3 rounds and then a final. Every round that you achieve perfection will make the final easier for you. However, if your performance is anything less than perfect, the usual suspects here will have a chance to step in and steal the round, making the final much harder. Usual suspects, we're going to switch you off for now, so you can't see or hear anything. Peter, you can now talk through your answers without giving away any vital knowledge when they're in this condition, OK?
Okay.
Each round consists of 4 true or false statements. You'll be answering against the clock. You'll only have 45 seconds, and once you've given an answer, your first answer, it will be locked in. Are you ready?
I am, yes.
Then let's play Perfection. Round 1, your 45 seconds starts now. 112 works as an emergency phone number across the EU.
I think that's true.
True. Woody Allen only makes films in New York.
I think that's false.
False. Stephen Hawking wrote The Selfish Gene.
I think that's false.
False. And finally, Wast Water is in the Lake District.
I think that's true.
True, and with plenty of time to spare, you've answered all 4 statements. You sound very confident.
I'm not too sure about the water one, but it's a lovely place, so I guess it's true.
OK, before we reveal how well you've done, it's time for us to bring back the usual suspects. Don't forget they'll be able to hear you, OK? So these were the 4 statements, and next to them are Peter's answers. What do you make of these answers, Richard?
He's done quite well, I think, actually, there. The only thing I'm not sure about is D. I'd probably go false on that one, because I don't know about Wast Water. I've never ever heard of it.
Dave, welcome to the show. And what do you make of those answers? Has he achieved perfection?
I think D could be false.
All right, Peter, the moment of truth. You need to have answered all 4 statements perfectly to have won the round. Let's find out how many are correct. Congratulations, Peter, you have achieved perfection. well done. Let's have a look at those answers in more detail, shall we? 112 works as an emergency phone number across the EU. True or false? Yep, it's true. Very well done. Woody Allen only makes films in New York. True or false? Yes, of course, that's false. He's made films in many other places, including London. Stephen Hawking wrote The Selfish Gene. True or false? Yeah, it's false. It was written by Richard Dawkins. And finally, Wastwater is in the Lake District. True or false? Absolutely true. So, Peter, as a result of that perfect performance, you've made winning the prize fund a lot easier, and here's how. Appearing before you is your final board. These 6 blank spaces need to be filled with subject categories. Here are your final round category options, starting with film stars, running through Birmingham, gastronomy, and onto flowers, with many more in between. Now, because you won the round, you've earned the right to choose 2 categories to add to the board. If the usual suspects had nicked the round off you, they'd be choosing the 2 categories, trying to make the final harder for you. So, fire away. Which 2 would you like to choose?
I think I'm going to try Birmingham.
Birmingham goes in. That's where you live, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Yorkshire as well, because that's my second home.
OK, and Yorkshire goes in. Smashing. Thank you very much. Usual suspects. You didn't get a look in there. We'll see you in round 2, where you may. Peter, now the usual suspects have gone, we can have a chat without any worry about them hearing. Look at that list. Tell me 2 that you're quite keen to avoid.
Probably Katie Price and maybe wine bottles.
Okay.
That's about it, really. They all look quite achievable.
And the next 2 that you'll be choosing, then, in which case?
Ooh, probably Spice Girls and maybe film stars.
All right, smash it. Peter, you've had a great start to the game. If you're ready, let's play round 2. Your 45 seconds start now. Dennis Hopper and Cher were married for 8 days.
I think that's false.
False. Martin Amis devised the ad slogan, naughty but nice.
I don't know who he is, so I'm going to go for false.
False. Wham is a famous Mark Rothko painting.
Oh, my art's rubbish, so I'm going to go for false as well.
False. And finally, third man is a fielding position in cricket.
I'm going to go for true.
True. And again, with time to spare, you've answered all 4 statements. You don't spend a long time over these, do you?
No.
You either know them or go with gut feeling, isn't
Gut feeling, yeah. If not, just, yeah, false.
OK, that's the theory, is if you don't know, go false.
Yes.
All right, before we reveal exactly how well you've done, it's time to bring back the usual suspects. Here's the 4 statements, and next to them are Peter's answers. Ross, can you find anything wrong with his answers this time?
I think A is true.
Lovely, thank you. Dave, what do you think?
Again, that's my thoughts as well, actually. I thought A should be true.
All right, Peter, the moment of truth. Let's find out how many are correct.
Okay. Oh.
Congratulations, Peter, you proved perfection again. Possibly the finest celebrations we've ever had at the end of each round for perfection. Let's go through them in more detail. Dennis Hopper and Cher were married for 8 days. True or false? You said it was false, and it is false. He was married for a short time to Michelle Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas, but she filed for divorce 8 days later. Martin Amis devised the ad slogan, naughty but nice. You said that was false, and it is, of course, false. It's usually attributed to Salman Rushdie,
Oh, yeah.
who was working in advertising at the time. Wham is a famous Mark Rothko painting. You said that was false, and it is, of course, false. Roy Lichtenstein did Wham. And finally, third man is a fielding position in cricket. You said that was true, and of course it is true. So, Peter, as a result of that perfect performance, you've made winning the prize fund of £14,000 a lot easier. Let's have a look at the final board. 2 subject categories on there already, chosen by you, and because you won that round, you get to choose the next 2 as well. Which 2 would you like?
I'll go Spice Girls, please.
Spice Girls goes into the final, and
I'll go film stars.
Film stars goes in as well. OK, very well played. Usual suspects are going to switch you off now. That's 2 rounds you haven't had a look in. It's extraordinary, isn't it? He's on fire. Peter, well done. By choosing your own categories, hopefully you've made winning the final that much easier. I don't want to prevaricate now. You're on such a roll. We'll go straight into round 3, shall we? Let's play round 3. Your 45 seconds start now. Prince Harry attended St Andrews University.
That's definitely false. It's
False.
his brother.
A classic White Russian cocktail contains vodka.
True.
True.
Don't drink.
The first feature film with sound was The General.
That's definitely false.
False. And finally, Robbie Williams was once a double glazing salesman.
Robbie. I'm gonna have to say true.
True, and with time to spare, you've answered all 4 statements. What I love is the extra bits of information you chuck in as well. So when I said a classic White Russian cocktail contains, well, you went, true, I don't drink. It's the extra little bits you chuck in on the end that's so entertaining. So what do you think? Have you achieved perfection? 3
I'm
in a
not sure
row,
about
do you think?
Robbie, he could have been just a call phone salesman, so maybe just phone. Maybe a quick summer job or something. So.
Yeah, you never know, do you? All right, before we reveal exactly how well you've done, time to bring back the usual suspects. So these were the 4 statements, and next to them are Peter's answers. Richard?
I don't think C is right. I think that was the first feature film with sound. And also Robbie Williams, I'm not convinced he was a double glazing salesman.
Ross, do you concur?
No, I think B is wrong. I don't think White Russian cocktail has vodka in it.
Peter, the moment of truth, you need to have answered all 4 statements perfectly to have won the round. Let's find out how many are correct. Congratulations, Peter, you have achieved perfection.
Oh dear.
Peter, you're on fire.
I think I am.
It's extraordinary. Let's go through those in more detail. Prince Harry attended St Andrews University. True or false? It is, of course, false. And as you said, it was his brother, William, that attended St Andrews. Prince Harry went to Sandhurst. Yeah, you knew that. Obviously, TA, I suppose you must have known. Yeah. A classic White Russian cocktail contains vodka. You said that was true. And, of course, it is true, despite the fact you don't drink. The first feature film with sound was The General. You said that was false, and it is absolutely false. The first talkie was The Jazz Singer, in actual fact. And Robbie Williams was once a double glazing salesman. You said that was true, and it was true. You're absolutely right. He did a few jobs before he hit the big time. OK, Peter, as a result of that perfect performance, you've made winning the prize fund, well, about as easy as it can be. Let's have a look at your final board. 4 subject categories on there. You've chosen all 4 of them, and because you won that 3rd round, you have that rare thing. You get to choose the last 2 and get a complete board full of your own category choices.
Oh, cracking. I'm gonna go for Bird of Prey.
Birds of Prey goes in.
Let's go flowers. I like flowers. They're nice.
Flowers goes into the final as well. We now know our final 6 categories. They are Birmingham, Yorkshire, Spice Girls, film stars, Birds of Prey, and flowers, all chosen by you. Well, I feel slightly sorry for you, usual suspects. You've barely had a look in, and when somebody's doing this well, it's slightly worrying, isn't it, with £14,000 to be won in the final, and he's chosen all his own subject categories. Worried?
Slightly.
Slightly worried. OK, it's time to switch off the usual suspects. We'll see you later. Well, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
12 out of 12 so far. All you need to do now is get 6 out of 6 in the final, and you're going out of here with £14,000.
I could be the perfect contestant, couldn't I?
Well, at the moment you are. Yeah, absolutely. Peter, for £14,000, it's time to play the final. Peter, this is the all-important final. If you can achieve perfection, you could be leaving with a prize fund of £14,000. If you fail, you'll be leaving with nothing, which is great news for the usual suspects, as one of them could be playing for a rollover of £15,000 on the next game. So, let's play the final round. Peter, here are your final 6 categories. Now, you must answer all 6 statements correctly if you want to win the £14,000. Think carefully. There's no time limit, but once you've given an answer, your first answer, it's locked in. You ready?
Yes.
Then let's reveal your first statement. Please tell me whether you believe it to be true or false. Birmingham. Birmingham's Bull Ring has staged 3 Formula 1 races.
I'm gonna have to say that's false.
False. Yorkshire. The Ouse flows through Ripon and out to sea at Whitby.
I know Ripon, but I don't know the other 2 because I didn't actually get to go on them. So I think I'm gonna have to go for true.
True. Spice Girls. Melanie Chisholm is the youngest of the Spice Girls.
Oh, Baby Spice. What's her name? Chisholm, though? No, it's Emma. No, Emma Bunton. I'm gonna have to say that's false.
False.
Definitely.
Film stars. Channing Tatum starred in the film Magic Mike.
I've not seen that. So, I'm going to go for true.
True. Birds of prey. The Merlin is a type of falcon.
I know that's a type of helicopter and a wizard, so I believe that to be true.
True. Flowers. Corolla is the collective name for a flower's petals.
I think that is true.
True. And with that, all those answers are locked in. Remember, if there's one single mistake, you leave with nothing. Which ones are you unsure of?
The flowers and D, Magic Mike.
D and F. Okay,
Yeah.
let's bring back the usual suspects to see what they've got to say. Usual suspects, you can now see the final 6 statements, and next to them are Peter's answers. Peter, your answers are now locked in and you can't change them by yourself. But if you think you made a mistake, you can unlock the board with the help of the usual suspects. This will, however, come at a cost. Usual suspects, I'm now going to ask you to tell me how well you think Peter has done, if you want to help, and if you do, how much it will cost him. Peter, who would you like to hear from first?
I'd like to talk to David.
You've got 4 right. I'd love to come down, but I'm really not sure about the other 2. They're causing me a bit of difficulty.
What do you think, Richard?
There's a couple I'm not sure about, so I can't really help you. I'm going to have to rule myself out, I'm afraid.
Okay, Richard has ruled himself out.
Oh. Ross?
Peter, I know that you've got 2 wrong there, mate. And I would love to come down and help you out, but it's going to cost you 10 grand, mate.
Okay, so Ross is asking for £10,000 of your £14,000 prize fund to come and help you. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, are people bluffing you? Can you actually manage to go all on your own and achieve perfection? Or do you want to go back to, say, Dave or Ross and negotiate?
Ross, do you want to negotiate probably about 7 to you?
8 grand. I'll go no lower than 8 grand. £8,000.
Okay, I'll take Ross's deal. I'll deal with Ross.
Yes, you're going to deal with Ross at £8,000.
Yeah.
Happy with that, Ross?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
marvellous.
for
Yeah, great.
£8,000 of the £14,000, please come down and join us. Okay, Peter, you've asked Ross for help. If you achieve perfection, it will cost you £8,000 of your potential prize fund of £14,000. Ross, you've now forfeited your chance to play in the next game. This is your only shot at winning perfection. Have you made the right decision? I think we're about to find out. All 6 answers are now unlocked. Ross, which answers do you want Peter to change?
I'm going to be completely honest. I bluffed Peter. You could see how well he was doing in the first 2 rounds. I actually think he's got perfection, so...
Essentially, what's happened here is you have been bluffed out of £8,000 of your £14,000 prize fund.
That's okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, definitely.
Brilliant.
Okay. So, do you want to change anything before we close it up again?
I think we should keep it as is
Keep it,
then.
yeah?
We'll
Let's do it,
take a chance.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, so you want to lock all those answers in again? Yeah? Is that what you want to do, Peter? Want to
Yes,
lock them
we
all?
shall lock them.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Lock all those answers in, please. Your answers are now locked in. £14,000 at stake, £6,000 to Peter, £8,000 to Ross. 6 answers away. Let's find out if you've achieved perfection. If the statement turns green, it's true. If it turns red, it's false. Birmingham's Bullring has staged 3 Formula One races. Now, you live in Birmingham, don't you, Peter? And it's interesting, actually, because those first 2, but your spiritual home is Yorkshire. So they're kind of, like, really key ones for you, aren't they? So let's hop over those and come back to them in a little while. Melanie Chisholm is the youngest of the Spice Girls. Now, you're a big fan of the Spice Girls?
I am, yeah. I like all their songs.
You did, right. And you're absolutely sure that Baby Spice...
Well, she wouldn't be called Baby Spice, would she?
That's very good logic. So, as a result, you said this was false. Ross had no reason to change your answer, so you stick with false. We need this to turn red to get you off to a good start. Is it true or false? It is false. And it is, of course, Emma Bunton,
Yes.
a.k.a. Baby Spice, who is the youngest. Channing Tatum, now this you were worried about this, weren't you?
Yeah.
Channing Tatum starred in the film Magic Mike, a film that you said you'd never seen. You said that was true. You need this to turn green. Is it true or false? It is true. Regard to the Merlin as a type of falcon, you said it was a wizard and a...
Helicopter.
And so, as a result, you decided through some form of logic along those lines that it was therefore true. Is it true or false? It is true. Halfway towards £8,000. Ross, how are you feeling at this stage? You've given up a chance of playing your own game.
Very positive. I think he's quite a bright lad, so I've got every confidence in him, definitely.
OK, so we'll continue on through. Corolla is the collective name for a flower's petals. Now, you said this was true. You need this to turn green. Is it true or false? Yes. It is true.
Oh, my God.
Be confident.
So we go back up to the top again and start with these two. One about where you live, one from your spiritual home and where your accent comes from. So Birmingham's Bullring has staged 3 Formula One races. You immediately said that was false.
It's just concrete in the old days, in the 70s, so I don't think they would have done it, really.
Okay. You need this to turn red. If it turns red, you are 1 away from the £14,000. You said false. Is it true or false? Yes. It is false.
Oh, my God.
Do you know, racing has taken place in Birmingham, but never Formula One. So here we are with the one about Yorkshire. This is the one that it's all about. £14,000 resting on this for the two of you. For Peter and Ross, you need this to turn green. The Ouse flows through Ripon and out to sea at Whitby. You said it was true. If this turns green, you're walking home with well, you can afford to take a limo home, to be honest. Never mind walking home with £14,000. £6,000 for you, Peter. £8,000 for you, Ross. If it turns red, you leave with nothing and the money rolls over for the usual suspects. Is it true or false for £14,000?
Naughty lad.
It's false, I'm afraid. Peter, Ross, that means you haven't achieved perfection and you're not going home with the prize fund. It actually joins the Humber Estuary. Well, what a disappointment that is, and what an extraordinary game Peter played. I can see why you came down, Ross, to join in.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, he played such a fantastic game all the way through. You have been the most fantastic contestant, and I think you should be very proud of your answers. Usual suspects, great news for you. The prize fund rolls over to the next game, where one of you could be playing for a total of £15,000. Look, Peter and Ross, you failed to achieve perfection, which means you go home with nothing other than our thanks, and especially congratulations, Peter, for what a fantastic game you played. It was really lovely to meet you, and you, Ross. Let's hear it for Peter and Ross, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, how do we follow that? Well, it's now time to meet the next usual suspects, hoping to play perfection today. Usual suspects, please introduce yourselves.
I'm Rick, I'm from Exeter, and I'm a drama student.
I'm Carol, I'm from Warrington, and I'm a sonographer.
Welcome, Rick and Carol, and best of luck to all of you as we now find out which one of you has been randomly picked to play perfection. Richard, it's you! Can we join you and play perfection? Richard, welcome to the game. Do you know, it's an extraordinary thing. Look it up at the usual suspects. That just doesn't look right without you sat up there.
Well, I don't think they know I've escaped yet.
Is it? Yeah. Well, you know, the extraordinary thing is, you came to the game when it was on £1,000.
Yes, yeah.
It's now £15,000. You've seen them all come and go and come and go. It's been a really interesting journey for you up there, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, but, you know, today particularly with watching different people get chosen, I thought, oh, is it ever going to happen?
No, absolutely. Let's find out a little bit more about you. One of your interesting ambitions is that you want to get yourself a Harley Davidson.
Yes.
Do you have a motorbike licence?
No.
Do you ride a motorbike?
No.
That might be a bit of a sticking point, though, Richard.
Well, I haven't thought of that, yeah.
All right, well, look, best of luck. Richard, it's now you versus the usual suspects. For so long, they were your teammates, but now they're very definitely your enemies.
Yep.
Here's the good news. Nobody has won, well, I'm telling you this, you know, no one's won the last 14 games, and as a result, you've watched the prize fund tick up to £15,000.
Yeah.
Harley Davidson for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, best of luck to you, Richard.
Yep.
3 rounds and a final to come. Usual suspects, we're going to switch you off for now so you can't see or hear anything, but as soon as Richard makes a mistake, you will be back in the game. Cheerio. Are you ready?
Yep.
Then let's get started and play perfection. Round 1, your 45 seconds start now. James Watt invented the spinning jenny.
No, that's false.
False. The Mojave Desert is in Florida.
No, it's not. I think that's California, I think, actually.
So you're saying that's
That's false.
false. Someday I'll Find You is a novel by Richard Madeley.
I'll have the complete guess on this one. I'd say true.
True. And finally, Pharrell Williams is an American stand-up comedian.
Never heard of him or her, but I should say that's true.
True, and with time to spare, you've answered all 4 statements. You've waited a long time to play your first round. How was it?
And not too bad. It's just those first 2 I'm quite confident on. The last 2 were complete guesses.
All right, before we reveal exactly how well you've done, it's time to bring back the usual suspects. Don't forget they'll be able to hear you.
Yep.
So here are the 4 statements, and next to them are Richard's answers. Has he achieved perfection? Carol, what do you think?
I think he may have perfection.
OK, thank you, Carol. Rick, what do you think of those?
I think D's wrong, so I think Pharrell Williams might be a rapper, not a comedian.
All right, Richard, the moment of truth. You need to have answered all 4 statements perfectly to have won the round. Let's see how many are correct. Well, no, from playing the game before, 3 out of 4 is a good score, but it's not perfection, and as a result, you've let your enemies, the usual suspects, into the game. Can you steal the round? You can see Richard's answers. You need to change just one, but which one? Discuss.
D, I think. Yeah,
I think we should.
I'm sure he's a rapper, not a comedian.
Yeah, my thoughts as well. Nick, we'd like to change D from true to false, please.
Lovely. D changes from true to false, leaving A, B, and C as answered by Richard. Usual suspects, let's find out what the correct answers are. James Watt invented the spinning jenny. Is that true or false? Yes, it's false. Watt developed a type of steam engine. The Mojave Desert is in Florida. True or false? It is false. It's in southeastern California with some parts in Nevada and Arizona and Utah. Someday I'll Find You is a novel by Richard Madeley. True or false? Yep, that one's true, so you know where this is going now, don't you, usual suspects? Pharrell Williams is an American stand-up comedian. True or false? It's false. Congratulations, usual suspects. You have achieved perfection. Pharrell Williams is a singer, songwriter, rapper and producer, as Rick said. So, Richard, the usual suspects have managed to succeed where you failed and they've stolen the round. Usual suspects, you now have the opportunity to make Richard's chances of winning the prize fund much harder in the final. And here's how. Richard, appearing before you is your final board. These 6 blank spaces need to be filled with subject categories. Here are your final round category options appearing, starting with dames, running through animals, country music and on to farming, with many more in between. Now, because the usual suspects stole the round from you, they get to choose the 2 categories, hoping to make the final harder for you to win. So, far away, usual suspects, which 2 would you like to choose?
Explorers? Cameron Diaz?
Yeah, I think Cameron Diaz
Cameron Diaz.
could be a tricky one, yeah.
Yes. Can we put in Cameron Diaz, please, Nick?
You can. Cameron Diaz goes into the final.
Dames?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We'll go for Dames,
Yeah.
please.
And dames makes it into the final. Well done, usual suspects. You've won the first round. Time to switch you off, but we'll see you in round 2. Cheerio. OK, so let's have a chat about those. They can't hear us now. Cameron Diaz?
Yeah, I know who she is, but don't know an awful lot about her.
Dames?
Well, it could be pantomime dames, couldn't it? Or it could be famous dames, sort of people who've been married to knights or something like that.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that list now that we can have a little chat about it. Which 2 will you be choosing first?
Animals, I think, I'd quite like. And maybe hovercrafts.
OK. And 2 that you'd quite like to avoid?
I think taxis.
We all like to avoid taxes.
Yeah, well, that's right, precisely, yeah. And maybe farming.
OK. Well, Richard, it's only the first round. You still have 2 more rounds to find perfection and choose your own categories for the final. Are you ready to press on?
Yes.
Then let's play round 2. Your 45 seconds start now. In Hull, telephone boxes are traditionally cream.
I think they are, actually, yes, true.
True. The Stone of Scone is a mountain in the Grampians.
No, that's false.
False. The Transformed Man is an album by William Shatner.
No, I don't recognise that at all. That's false.
False. And finally, Alicia Dixon won Strictly Come Dancing.
No, I think she was a judge on it. No, that's false.
False. And again, with time to spare, you've answered all 4. How was that?
I felt reasonable with those.
So you're in with a chance?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, before we reveal exactly how well you've done, time to bring back the usual suspects again. So here are the 4 statements, and next to them are Richard's answers. Carol, what do you make of those answers? Has he achieved perfection, do you think?
There are a couple of those I really have no idea on, so I don't know.
Dave, what do you make of those answers?
Looks pretty good to me, except I'm not sure about C.
OK, well, Richard, the moment of truth. Let's find out how many are correct. 2 out of 4 is, in a 50-50 game, a very average score. And as a result, Richard, you've let the usual suspects into the game. Can you steal this round? You need to change 2 answers, but which 2?
I'd probably go with Lisa Dixon did win it.
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she did.
Yes.
So I think
Yeah.
we should change that one.
I
OK.
have no idea about Hall's telephone boxes.
Well, first of all, Nick will change D from false to true.
D changes from false to true, and
I wasn't sure about C.
Right?
I can't help, I'm afraid.
No, you can't
No, I
help.
can't.
No.
I think Nick will go for C, changing from false to true.
C changes from false to true, leaving A and B as answered by Richard. Usual suspects, let's find out what the correct answers are. In Hull, telephone boxes are traditionally cream. True or false? Yeah, that's actually true. Hull had its own telephone
Yeah, I know that.
company. Oh, you knew that?
Yeah, I used to work for Yellow Pages, and they were the only ones who had their own directory.
That's incredible, isn't it? So there you go, a bit of extra information there. The Stone of Scone is a mountain in the Grampians. True or false? Yes, of course, that's false. It's a ceremonial stone used in coronations. The Transformed Man is an album by William Shatner. True or false? Yes, actually, that's true. A collection of songs and Shakespearean soliloquies and things like that. And Alicia Dixon won Strictly Come Dancing. True or false? Yeah, that's true. Congratulations, usual suspects. You have achieved perfection again. Unfortunately for you, Richard, the usual suspects have succeeded where you failed and they've stolen the round. You now have the opportunity to make Richard's chances of winning the prize for under £15,000 much harder. Let's see the final board. 2 subject categories already chosen by the usual suspects, and because you won that round, you get to choose the next 2 as well. So, which 2 do you want?
I wonder if Richard knows much about country music. How about that one? What do you think?
Yeah, it's worth,
Yeah.
it's worth a try. Yeah.
Worth a try, country music?
Okay.
Yeah. Can we put in country music, please,
You
Nick?
can. Country music goes across, and I need one more from you.
What can there be about hovercrafts?
Yeah, well, should we go for that?
Yeah, let's go with that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, we'll go for hovercrafts, please.
Hovercrafts goes in. Congratulations, usual suspects. You won the second round as well as the first. Time to switch you off. We'll see you in round 3. That's handy, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're
that one's
helping
all
you
right.
out there by choosing the subjects you fancied.
I would hope so.
Hovercrafts. You
Yeah.
still have one more chance to find perfection and choose your own category for the final. It'd be nice to choose 2 that you prefer rather than have them choose something nasty for you.
Yeah.
Are you ready to play the next round?
I am.
Let's play round 3. Your 45 seconds start now. The Demerara River is in India.
I don't know. I'll say false for that.
False. The slender loris is a type of primate.
I think that's true.
True. The smaller target ball in bowls is called a jimmy.
I think that's false, actually.
False. And with time to spare, Gillian Anderson starred in the TV drama The Fall.
No, I don't think she did. I'll say false.
False. And once again, you've answered all 4 statements. Better?
Not really.
No.
The only one I'm sure of is B, but the others I'm total guesses, really.
All right, before we reveal how well you've done, time to bring back the usual suspects. So these were the 4 statements, and next to them are Richard's answers. Rick, what do you think?
I think he's done well, but I'm going to question D because I remember reading in the Radio Times about the fall, and I'm sure I saw Gillian Anderson's face. So I think that should be true.
Do you agree, Carol?
Absolutely. I watched The Fall, and Gillian Anderson definitely stars in it.
OK, Richard, the moment of truth. You need to have answered all 4 perfectly to have won the round. Let's see how many are correct. Well, 3 out of 4 is not bad, but it's not perfection. I wonder if the usual suspects can come up with an answer. You need to change just one, but which one? Take your time. Don't rush into anything, usual suspects. Get your heads together and see if you can come up with an answer.
It's D.
You're happy with D?
yeah, I think we're all agreed, aren't we?
Happy with D, yeah. Yeah, we're happy with D, changing, please, from false to true.
D changes from false to true, leaving A, B and C as answered by Richard. OK, usual suspects, let's find out what the correct answers are. The Demerara River is in India. Is that true or false? Yeah, that is false. It flows through Guyana in South America. The slender loris is a type of primate. True or false? Yeah, absolutely true. The smaller target ball in bowls is called a jimmy. True or false? Yeah, it's false. It's a jack, of course.
That's it.
Gillian Anderson starred in the TV drama The Fall. True or false? Yeah, it's true. Congratulations, usual suspects. You have achieved perfection. Well, Richard, it's a clean sweep. The usual suspects have succeeded where you failed and stolen the round again. Usual suspects, you now have the opportunity to make Richard's chances of winning the prize fund, well, about as hard as they can be. Let's see the final board. 4 subject categories already chosen by you, and because you won that last round, you get to choose the last 2 as well, completing Richard's misery. Which 2 would you like?
Do you think he knows much about farming?
Probably not. I think that
Yeah.
might well be a good one. Yes. Yeah. We'll go for farming, please, Nick.
Farming goes into the final, and 1 more, please.
Okay. What about old drinks?
Old drinks?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy with that? You too?
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll go for old drinks, please.
Old drinks goes into the final 2. We now know our 6 final categories. They are Cameron Diaz, dames, country music, hovercrafts, farming, and old drinks. Very well played, usual suspects. You won all 3 rounds. Time to switch you off for the moment. You didn't fancy farming, did you?
Not really, but you never know what the question's going to be.
All right, Richard, for £15,000, it's time to play the final. Richard, this is the all-important final. If you could achieve perfection, you could be leaving with a prize fund of £15,000. If you fail, you'll be leaving with nothing, which would be great news for the usual suspects, as one of them could be playing for a rollover of £16,000 on the next game. Let's play the final round. Richard, here are your final 6 categories. Now, you must answer all 6 statements correctly if you want to win the £15,000. Think carefully, there's no time limit. Once you've given an answer, your first answer, it's locked in. Are you ready?
Yep.
Then let's reveal your first statement. Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz won an Oscar for Gangs of New York.
I don't think she did. I'm going to say false.
False. Dames. Elizabeth Taylor was made a dame.
That's interesting. She was married to Richard Burton, but she married twice to him, but can't remember if she was made a dame or not. I'll say false.
False. Country music. Kenny Rogers had a hit single with The Gambler.
Who did that one? Because I've heard it. The Gambler. I'm going to say true on that one.
True. Hovercrafts. The cross-channel hovercraft service ended in 1990.
Because that went from Folkestone to Calais, as I remember. It's probably about right, actually. I'll say true.
True. Farming. Rapeseed flowers are blue.
No, they're not. They're yellow because we have several fields now where we are, and the crops were very late this year, and so they're yellow because it can be quite often confused with mustard seeds. So that's false.
False. And finally, old drinks. Sack is an old-fashioned term for imported gin.
No, I don't think that's right. Sack. In fact, I think that refers to sherry rather than gin. I don't think that's gin. No, I'm going to say false.
False. Richard, those answers are locked in. Remember, if there's one single mistake, you leave with nothing. Which ones are you unsure of?
B and C. And I'm not sure about the date for D either, so those 3.
B, C, and D.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring back the usual suspects and see what they have to say. Usual suspects, you can now see the final 6 statements, and next to them are Richard's answers. Richard, your answers are now locked in and you can't change them by yourself. But if you think you made a mistake, you can unlock them with the help of the usual suspects. This will, however, come at a cost. Richard, who would you like to hear from first?
I hear from Dave, please.
Richard, we've given you a really tough set of questions here. I'd love to come down and help, but I'm afraid there's no chance from me because I'm really struggling. I'm sorry.
You're ruling yourself out then, are you,
I
Dave?
am indeed.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay. Carol?
How well do you think you've done, Richard?
I'm fairly confident on 4 of them.
Okay. There are 2 that I think you have wrong, but there are another 2 that I'm not sure of. So at the moment, I'm going to say I'm not able to come and help.
At the moment, could you be persuaded? Is that what you're suggesting?
Probably not, sorry.
So you're definitely ruling yourself out?
Yes, I'll rule myself out.
All right, thank you very much, Carol.
Okay. Rick?
Sorry, Richard, I just don't feel I've got enough confidence. I don't think I'll be able to help you, I'm afraid.
You are on your own, £15,000 at stake, 6 answers away. Let's find out if you've achieved perfection on your own.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, let's start at the top, shall we? Cameron Diaz won an Oscar for Gangs of New York. You said this was false. We need this to turn red to get you off to a good start. Is that true or false? It is false. Very well done. She hasn't won an Oscar so far. OK, well, B, C and D were the ones that you were worried about, weren't you?
Yeah.
So let's skip over them for the moment and go to E. Rapeseed flowers are blue. You said this was false because you have rapeseed in the fields around you and you think they're yellow.
Yeah.
We need this to turn red. Rapeseed flowers are blue. Is that true or false? Yeah, it is false, and they are yellow. Very well done. Sack is an old-fashioned term for imported gin. You said this was false. You thought it might be sherry. If this turns red, you're halfway to the £15,000 all on your own. Sack is an old-fashioned term for imported gin. Is that true or false? Yeah, it is false. Yeah, it's an old-fashioned term for white wine, in actual fact, from Spain, Portugal, and the Canaries. So then we go to the three that you actually were unsure of. These were the ones you were most worried about. Which of those three would you say you were most confident on?
C, I should have thought.
Shall we deal with that next then?
Yeah, OK.
All right, Kenny Rogers had a hit single with The Gambler. True or false? You said it was true. We need this to turn green. Is that true or false? Yeah, it is true. Very well done. Which one do you want to do out of these two?
Let's do the cross-channel hovercraft.
The cross-channel hovercraft service ended in 1990. You got to think about that. It said over 20 years, maybe true, about the right sort of time you think. We need this to turn green. If it turns green, you are just one away from the £15,000 all on your own. The cross-channel hovercraft service ended in 1990. Is that true or false? It's false, I'm afraid. Actually, 10 years later, it ended in 2000, in actual fact. So, very bad luck. That means you haven't achieved perfection and you can't go home with any of the cash, I'm afraid. Right. But maybe you can still achieve perfection at home. Let's have a look at that last one. Elizabeth Taylor was made a dame. You had a long think about this. You said false. Is it true or false? In actual fact, it was true, yes. Dame Elizabeth Taylor. So there you go. In the end, you got 4 right out of 6, which isn't bad, considering that all the categories were chosen for you by the usual suspects. Yeah. And talking of usual suspects, that's great news for you. The prize fund rolls over to the next game, where one of you could be playing for a total of £16,000. Richard, you failed to achieve perfection, which means you go home with nothing other than our thanks for playing such a great game and being such a great player and a usual suspect for so long. I hope you enjoyed the whole process.
Oh, I certainly did. It was amazing.
Do you know, it won't be the same without you here, Richard. Thank you very much. Let's hear it for Richard, everybody. Well, that's all we have time for. Please join us next time when our usual suspects have the chance to play again, this time for £16,000. But remember, on this show, we will only pay for perfection. Goodbye.
Coming up tonight on BBC One, a special project for sport relief as these famous faces try living on the breadline. Famous, rich and...
The quiz show that demands nothing less than perfection. Behind this screen are 4 contestants who will be hoping their knowledge is flawless because one single mistake could give the game away. This is perfection. Welcome to Perfection, the quiz show where only perfect play is good enough. Behind me are the contestants. We call them the usual suspects. They're in our isolation room. In a moment, we'll find out which one of them has been randomly selected to join me here to play Perfection. They will then face a series of true or false statements. For example, if I said yaffle is another name for the green woodpecker, would you say that's true or false? Well, if you'd said true, I can tell you you'd be right. Answering true or false might seem easy, but if the contestant gets a single answer wrong, their opponents, the usual suspects, will be allowed into the game to capitalise on their mistakes. So you know how the game works. Let's meet the usual suspects.
I'm Michelle, I'm from Brighton, I'm a customer service assistant, and this is my first game.
I'm Rick, I'm from Exeter, I'm a drama student, and this is my second game.
I'm Carol, I'm from Warrington, I'm a sonographer, and this is my second game.
I'm Dave from Crewcon in Somerset. I'm a retired supplier controller, and this is my third game.
Welcome to you all, and best of luck as we now find out which one of you has been randomly picked to play Perfection. Rick, it's you. Please come down and join me. Rick, welcome to the game.
Thanks, Nick.
Let's find out a bit about you. You've had one career and you've shifted off into another now. You're a drama student.
That's correct, yes.
OK, so with a view to being an actor, or what do you want to do?
Well, acting would be great, but I have other ambitions as well. I quite like teaching. Last year, I directed a play
Right.
for my local company. I really enjoyed sort of coaching people, so I would like to do teaching, also do a bit of acting on the side as well.
Yeah, very nice. I'm told you tell a lot of bad jokes.
Yes, I'm quite good at reciting Christmas cracker jokes. So
Oh, OK, you can give us an example of a couple?
Okay, when is a door not a door?
I don't know. When is a door not a door?
When it's a jar.
Yes, I can see where we're going. Let's try another one, just to see if we can get anything out of the audience who've got awfully silent. Another one?
Why was the broom late for work?
I don't know. Why was the broom late for work?
Because it overswept.
Oh, you got one there?
Yeah.
Yeah, OK. Yeah, no, OK, fair enough. We've got to press on, I think, before we get any more jokes. Rick, it's now you versus the usual suspects. They were your teammates. They're now very definitely your enemies. Their job is to stop you from winning the prize fund, because your failure will mean the prize money rolls over to the next game, where one of them could be sitting here playing for a bigger total. Not that the total isn't already big enough. Every game on Perfection is worth £1,000. Here's the great news for you. Nobody's won the last 15 games. So the prize fund currently stands at £16,000. Which is getting very close to the all-time high on Perfection. Now, what would you spend £16,000 on?
That's a nice number. I could do two things with that. One, I like to take my mum on holiday, wherever she wants to go in the
Right.
world. And secondly, I like to take myself off to Nashville, because I'm a big fan of live music, and there's a fantastic music scene over there, so I like to experience it firsthand.
All right, jolly good. Well, look, best of luck. Here's how the game works. You'll play 3 rounds and then a final. Every round that you achieve perfection will make the final easier for you. However, if your performance is anything less than perfect, the usual suspects here will have a chance to step in and steal the round, making the final harder for you. More of that to follow later. Usual suspects, we're now going to switch you off so you can't see or hear anything. Rick, each round consists of 4 true or false statements. You'll be answering against the clock. You'll only have 45 seconds, and once you've given an answer, your first answer, it will be locked in. Are you ready?
I'm ready, Nick.
OK, then let's play Perfection. Round 1, your 45 seconds starts now. Dorset Blue Vinny is a breed of sheep.
Ugh. I think I've heard that. I'm going to say true.
True. The Queen Mother Hurdles is a race at Royal Ascot.
I think that's true.
True. Gandhi won the Nobel Peace Prize.
I think I heard that somewhere. I'm going to say true.
True. And finally, tequila was first produced as a cure for smallpox.
Not sure why they would use tequila, so I'm going to say false.
False. And with time to spare, you've answered all 4 statements. How was that?
That was OK. I'm few I'm unsure on, but...
All right. Before we reveal exactly how well you've done, time to bring back the usual suspects. Don't forget they'll be able to hear you. So here are the 4 statements, and next to them are Rick's answers. Dave, has he achieved perfection?
I'm afraid not, Nick. I believe A, Dorset Blue Vinny, is a cheese.
Carol, what do you make of those answers?
I go with Dave. I think the other 3 are probably correct, but A, I think, would be from true to false.
Michelle, welcome to the game.
Hi.
What do you think? Has he achieved perfection or not?
I think he's done pretty well, but I think I'd agree with Dave, and A is wrong.
All right, Rick, the moment of truth. You need to have answered all 4 statements perfectly to have won the round. Let's see how many are correct. Oh, just 1 out of 4. Which is not only a surprise to you, but a surprise to the usual suspects going on what they said. Because you haven't achieved perfection, they have the chance to steal the round. Can you steal the round, usual suspects? You need to change 3 answers, but which 3?
Oh, definitely A.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also.
I think B is incorrect, and I believe D is incorrect.
So Gandhi with the Nobel
Uh,
Prize.
that's my view that that is true.
Yeah.
Okay,
What do you
let's
think?
go
What
with
do you
you
think?
then.
Yeah, I'm happy
No
with
change that? Yes, Nick, we'd like to change A from true to false,
A from true to false,
B from true to false,
B from true to false,
and D from false to true.
and D from false to true, leaving C as answered by Rick. OK, usual suspects. Let's find out what the correct answers are. Dorset Blue Vinny is a breed of sheep. True or false? Yeah, it's false, and it is a cheese. Absolutely right, Dave. The Queen Mother Hurdles is a race at Royal Ascot. True or false? That's false. Royal Ascot does not have hurdles races. It's on the flat. Gandhi won the Nobel Peace Prize. True or false? That's false, I'm afraid. Oh dear, usual suspect. You had the chance to steal the round, but you failed to achieve perfection. Did you achieve perfection at home? Let's clear that one up. Gandhi didn't ever win the Nobel Peace Prize. Surprising, though, isn't it? You'd think he would have done. Tequila was first produced as a cure for smallpox. True or false? Yeah, that one's false. It was produced when the Spanish rulers of Mexico ran out of their own alcohol. So, Usual Suspects, had you achieved perfection, you would now have the opportunity to make Rick's chances of winning the prize fund much harder in the final, and here's how. Rick, appearing before you is your final board. These 6 blank spaces need to be filled with subject categories. Here are the final round category options appearing, starting with Wiggins and on to airports with many others in between. Now, had you achieved perfection, you'd now have the opportunity of adding 2 categories of your choice to the board. But because neither side won the round, those 2 categories that were due to be chosen will now be carried over to the next round, meaning 4 categories will be on offer. Usual Suspects, you missed the chance there. Time to switch you off. We'll see you in round 2. Dodged a bullet a bit there, really,
I
didn't
did,
you?
yeah, I got lucky there.
Yeah. So let's take a look at that list. Now they can't hear us. Pick me 2 that you'll be choosing if you get the opportunity.
World Cup would be fantastic, because I like my football. And Disney films.
All right, then.
Yeah.
And 2 you'd be quite keen to avoid.
I don't watch basketball, so I wouldn't want that one. And probably Happy Days. I know of it, but I've never watched it.
OK. Rick, in order to win the prize fund, you'll need to answer all 6 statements correctly. So winning the next round, when there are 4 categories on offer, could be crucial.
Yep.
You ready to carry on?
I'm ready.
Then let's play round 2. Your 45 seconds start now. The Homecoming is a play by Harold Pinter.
Don't think it's Pinter. False.
False. George VI fought during World War I.
I was reading about George VI the other day. It's World War I. False.
False. Thatcher is a station on the Paris metro system.
Possibly true.
True. And finally, the element copper is named after Cyprus.
I think I read that somewhere. I'm going to say true.
True. And again, with time to spare, you've answered all 4 statements. Any more comfortable?
Not really, no.
No. All right, before we reveal how well you've done, time to bring back the Usual Suspects. So here are the 4 statements, and next to them are Rick's answers. Carol, what do you think? Has he achieved perfection this time?
This is a really hard category, and I'd struggle to know a lot of those, so I'm not really sure.
That's very honest of you, Carol.
I know.
Michelle, what do you think?
I'm thinking that D's wrong. It's just a hunch, but I'm sure it's not named after Cyprus.
Dave?
Yeah, that's my view as well. I get a feeling that D is wrong.
All right, Rick, the moment of truth. Let's find out how many are correct. Just 1 out of 4. Again, surprise to you.
I'm consistent.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good grouping, as they say in dance.
Yes.
Nonetheless, you haven't achieved perfection, and the Usual Suspects have a chance. So, Usual Suspects, can you steal the round? You can see Rick's answers. You need to change 3 of them, but which 3?
I think C might be true. It's just a gut feeling.
I may even have been tempted with D being correct, but you thought not.
I don't know. You know, I'm happy to go with what everybody else thinks, but I just really don't know.
I thought B was George V, and so that would be right. Which one did you think was?
I thought C, but I'm not 100%. It's just one that sounds familiar, but I know nothing about B or A.
Right, then we'll change A from false to true.
A from false to true?
And Michelle, you were considering
I'm happy
C.
to go with B. If you want to go to B, I'll back you with B.
So
But I
we'll
just
change
don't know.
D.
D changes from true to false.
C, we'll change C from true to false.
C changes from true to false, leaving B as answered by Rick. Usual Suspects, let's find out what the correct answers are. The Homecoming is a play by Harold Pinter. Is that true or false? Yeah, it's true. George VI fought during World War I. Is that true or false? That's true, I'm afraid. Usual Suspects. You had the chance to steal the round again from Rick, but you failed again. Have you managed to achieve perfection at home? Let's go through those in more detail. Thatcher is a station on the Paris metro system. True or false? Yeah, that one's false. And finally, that means the element copper is named after Cyprus. True or false? It's true, and after telling us that she knew nothing about it, Carol was the one that actually picked that out as a potential change and should have gone with it. Well, Usual Suspects, had you achieved perfection, you would now have the opportunity to make Rick's chances of winning the prize fund in the final a lot harder. Let's have a look at the board. But it remains a barren wasteland. Because neither side won the round, the 4 categories that were due to be chosen will now be carried over to the next round, meaning all 6 categories will be on offer. Someone, please win a round. Usual Suspects, I'm going to switch you off. We'll see you in round 3. That's another bullet dodged. This would be a great one to win now.
Yeah, I need to up my game now.
If you can get perfection now, you get to choose all 6 in one go.
That'd be fantastic.
All right, you ready to play on?
I'm ready.
Let's play round 3. Your 45 seconds start now. Venus Williams is a co-owner of the Miami Dolphins.
I'm a big tennis fan, but I've never heard of that. I'm going to say false.
False. David Cameron is the son of a duke.
I can't see that. False.
False. Xander and Willow were characters in the X-Files.
I watched the X-Files, and I don't remember them, so I'm going to say false.
False. And finally, Bald Knob is a mountain in the Appalachians.
Oh, I've studied my mountains. I'm going to say false.
False. And again, with time to spare, you've answered all 4 statements. Any chance of perfection this time, you think?
Not sure. I mean, there's one there I definitely know I've got right, but...
OK. Well, before we reveal exactly how well you've done, time to bring back those usual suspects. So here are the 4 statements, and next to them are Rick's answers. We're starting with you this time, Michelle. Can you see anything wrong with this lot?
I'm leaning towards A being wrong, but that's the only one I think I'd change.
What do you think, Carol?
I also was thinking that Venus Williams was probably a co-owner.
OK. Dave?
I think Rick's almost got perfection. The only doubt I had was possibly D.
OK. Well, Rick, the moment of truth. You need to have answered all 4 statements perfectly to have won the round. Let's find out how many are correct. Well, that was brilliant by comparison to the first 2 rounds.
Getting better.
Yeah, twice as many things right.
Yes.
Which is something. However, it is, in a 50-50 game, an average score, I'm afraid. So, unfortunately, you have let the usual suspects in again. Although, to be fair, going on their performance in the first 2 rounds, you're not in much trouble. Usual suspects, can you steal the round? You can see Rick's answers. You need to change 2 of them. Which 2?
Come on,
I
team.
just realised one's wrong, actually.
Sorry?
C, Xander and Willow are actually in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
So that's correct.
So that's correct.
That's false, yeah.
B is correct, isn't
B
it?
is
False.
correct. Yeah, I believe B.
So I
is
changed A
correct.
and D.
A
Yeah.
and D. OK, we shall
Yeah.
go A, changing from false to true,
A changes from false to true,
and D from false to true.
and D from false to true, leaving B and C as answered by Rick. Let's find out, usual suspects, what the correct answers are. Venus Williams is a co-owner of the Miami Dolphins. True or false? Yes, actually true, and so's her sister, a co-owner as well. David Cameron is the son of a duke. True or false? Yeah, false. Xander and Willow were characters in the X-Files. True or false? Yeah, false. In fact, you're absolutely right. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Michelle, as you said. And Bald Knob is a mountain in the Appalachians. True or false? It's true, and hallelujah. Congratulations, usual suspects. You have achieved perfection. Someone finally ran around, which was excellent. I almost pulled my shirt over my head and did a lap of the studio. Rick, the usual suspects have succeeded where you failed, and they've stolen the round. Usual suspects, that now means you have the opportunity to make Rick's chances of winning the prize fund, well, about as hard as they can be, let's be honest. Let's see the final board. It is a barren wasteland at the moment, but that's all about to change. Because you won the round, usual suspects, you get to choose all 6 categories on the board. So, how are you going to select these 6?
Well, I'm going to let Michelle give the first 2.
I was going to suggest British Kings.
British Kings goes into the final, and another one, Michelle?
Basketball.
And basketball goes in. Carol, I presume this is how it's going to go, is it, Dave?
Please.
Carol,
I'll choose Happy Days
Happy Days goes in,
and Disney films.
and Disney films, which means it comes to you, Dave, for the last 2.
I'll go for World Cup
World Cup
and airports.
and airports. We now know our 6 final categories. They are British Kings, basketball, Happy Days, Disney films, World Cup, and airports. OK, guys, very well done. Time to switch you off. We'll see you later. Let's have a talk about those, shall we? You fancy World Cup
Yes.
and Disney films?
Yep. Thanks, guys.
So it's almost like you won a round there.
Yes.
Didn't fancy basketball or Happy Days, and you got both of those. So it's a
Yeah.
bit of a mixed bag, really, isn't it?
Yes.
And British Kings and airports, how are we on those?
I've been revising my British Kings, so
that could be
I've
handy.
got a fighting chance there.
All right. Rick, for £16,000, it's a lot of money. It's time to play the final. Rick, this is the all-important final. If you could achieve perfection, you could be leaving with a prize fund of £16,000. If you fail, you'll be leaving with nothing, which would be great news for the usual suspects, as one of them could be playing for a rollover of £17,000 on the next game. Let's play the final round. Rick, here are your final 6 categories. Now, you must answer all 6 statements correctly if you want to win the £16,000. Think carefully. There's no time limit, but once you've given an answer, your first answer, it will be locked in. Are you ready to go?
I am.
Then let's reveal your first statement. Please tell me whether you believe it to be true or false. British kings. George I was killed in a duel.
I know one of the Georges was. I'm going to say true.
True. Basketball. Magic Johnson played for the LA Lakers.
I've heard of him. I don't think he did. I'm going to say true.
True. Happy Days. The Fonz's real name was Arthur.
My mum used to love the Fonz, but she fancied Henry Winkler. Something says it wasn't Arthur. So I'm going to say false for that one.
False. Disney films. Peggy Lee provided the voice for Disney's Cinderella.
I watched that recently, so I should know this. It didn't sound like Peggy Lee was doing the voice. I mean, I should have, taken notice of the credits after I watched it. I'm going to say false for that one.
False. World Cup. The 2010 FIFA World Cup final referee was English.
Yes, that was Howard Webb, so that is true.
True. And finally, airports. Santiago's main airport is named after General Pinochet.
It's possible. Yes, General Pinochet. I'm going to say true for that one.
True, and with that, all those answers are locked in. Remember, if there's one single mistake, you leave with nothing. Which ones are you worried about?
F, C, and A.
F, C, and A?
Yeah.
All right, let's bring back the usual suspects and see what they have to say. Usual suspects, you can now see the final 6 statements, and next to them are Rick's answers. Rick, your answers are now locked in, and you can't change them by yourself. But if you think you've made a mistake, you can unlock the board with the help of the usual suspects. This will, however, come at a cost. Usual suspects, I'm now going to ask you to tell me how well you think Rick has done, if you want to help, and if you do, how much it will cost. Rick, who would you like to hear from first?
I'd like to hear from Carol first, please.
How well do you think you've done?
I'm confident on 4 of them.
On 4. There's one that I know you definitely have wrong, that I do know the answer to. And I'd be prepared to come down for 9,000, Rick.
So, £9,000, Carol is saying, of your £16,000 prize fund, leaving you with 7 as your share.
I'll have to think about that, Carol. Can I hear from Dave, please?
I really haven't got a lot of idea. There's some difficult ones for me, so I'm going to rule myself out. I'm sorry.
OK. Michelle?
I think you've done really well, but there's a couple that I just don't know, and I just don't want to risk it, I'm afraid.
So here's the situation. You have an offer from Carol to come down for £9,000 of your £16,000. What do you want to do now?
Carol, would you be happy to do a 50-50 split?
No, I'll do 9-7.
About 8.5?
9-7.
How confident are you on the one you think I've got wrong?
Very.
Yeah, let's do it.
Happy to come down for that, Carol?
Yeah. OK, yep.
OK, for £9,000 of the £16,000 on offer, Carol, please come and join us. Rick, you've asked Carol for help. If you achieve perfection, it will cost you £9,000 of your potential prize fund of £16,000. Carol, you've now forfeited your chance to play in the next game. This is your only shot at winning perfection. Have you made the right decision? I think we're about to find out. Here are the final round statements. All 6 answers are now unlocked. Carol, which ones do you want Rick to change?
C is absolutely wrong. It's Arthur Tucarelli, so I know that the Fonz is Arthur.
Yeah,
So-
I wasn't sure about that one,
Yeah.
so...
How about the others for yourself?
George I, I know one of them was killed in the duel, but I'm not sure if it was the first one.
I don't know.
Any
I don't
ideas?
know. No.
OK. And F, I'm a bit hesitant on.
Yeah. F I would be unsure on as well.
Santiago-
We looked at going to Chile a couple of years
Yeah.
ago, and I didn't look at airports.
So we're definitely going to change C, aren't we?
Yes.
We'll change C from false to true.
All right,
isn't
C
it?
changes from false to true.
That's the only one that I would. The others, you were happy with George.
Yeah.
B, C, D, and E, I'm happy with. So it's only F. It's whether you want to change it or not.
If I change it and it's wrong, then...
Yeah.
No, I think I'll leave it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it as it is, Nick.
All locked in like that?
Yes, please, yeah.
All right, smash in there. All get locked in, please. Your answers are now locked in. £16,000 at stake, £7,000 to Rick, £9,000 to Carol. 6 answers away. Let's find out if you've achieved perfection. Now, let's have a think. A, C, and F were the ones you were worried about, weren't they?
Yep.
So let's deal with the ones that you weren't worried about first, and then we'll get to A, C, and F, shall we? B, Magic Johnson played for the LA Lakers. You said that was true. We need this to turn green to get you off to a good start. Is it true or false? It's true. Very well done. D. Peggy Lee provided the voice for Disney's Cinderella. You said this was false. We need this to turn red. Is it true or false? It is false. Eileen Woods played Cinderella, in actual fact. Let's go to E. The 2010 FIFA World Cup final referee was English. This is the one you were most sure of.
Yeah.
You said true. We expect this to turn green and get you halfway to the money. Is that true or false? True. Howard Webb, exactly as you said.
Yeah.
So, where do we go next? Well, let's find out whether Carol coming down has helped or hindered. The Fonz is as a result, you haven't achieved perfection and you will not be leaving with the money. Can you still achieve perfection at home? Let's carry on with those and let's deal with that straight away, shall we? It's named after the aviator Arturo Merino Benitez. I wonder how you feel about this last one, because you did say, I'd hate it if I changed and then lost the game on it. Would you prefer this to be true or false, Dale?
I prefer this if this was wrong, because I was thinking about changing F.
Yeah. Interesting. George I was killed in a duel. Is it true or false? Yeah, it's false. George I died after suffering from a stroke. So in the end, it was 4 out of 6. Unfortunately, though, you both go home with no cash. But, usual suspect, great news for you. The prize fund rolls over to the next game, where one of you could be playing for a total of £17,000. Rick Carroll, you failed to achieve perfection, which means you go home with nothing other than our thanks for playing. I hope you've enjoyed playing the game.
That's been fantastic.
Definitely.
It's been great having you. Let's hear it for Carol and Rick, everybody. Yes, a tough one to win this. And now, time to meet the next usual suspects, hoping to play perfection today. Usual suspects, please introduce yourselves.
I'm May.